"Dear woman, why are you crying?" Jesus asked her. "Who are you looking for?" She thought he was the gardener. "Sir," she said, "if you have taken him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will go and get him." "Mary," Jesus said. She turned to him and cried out, "Rabboni," which is Hebrew for teacher. "Don't cling to me," Jesus said, "for I haven't yet ascended to the Father. But go find my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God."
You owe me. These are words I've never been comfortable with. You can pay me back later. Another phrase I'm not a big fan of. Why? Because it implies indebtedness. It says that whatever I do for you comes with a price. My blessings and my goodness are not free. The language of indebtedness seems to permeate our culture, and I would bet it always has. Human beings struggle with freely giving and freely receiving. It's a character flaw that keeps us from fully knowing the love and the kindness of God. I think that maybe it's indebtedness that keeps us from asking for or accepting help. Because somewhere inside we believe it isn't really free and we don't want it hanging over our heads. Or maybe we think it means we're weak or we feel ashamed because we're not able to do everything ourselves. Asking for help can feel like a failure. And we would rather isolate and keep ourselves to ourselves than let another know the depth of our suffering. I wonder, does that fall under the dirty laundry clause of family rules? It's not a matter of saying, no, it's okay, you don't owe me, I'm doing this out of love. You don't owe me a thing. Because we all know that as soon as that dinner or that casserole gets put in your hands, cha-ching, goes the voice of indebtedness in your head. And already we're trying to figure out how we're going to return the favor. Every beat of our heart seems to say, nothing is free. Everything comes with a price. Whether or not we admit it, we believe that somewhere there's a string attached. Now, as a church, we work to change that. It's probably the hardest lesson in community because our brain, our familiar training, and our culture is always telling us that everyone is just for themselves. And we have to constantly prove our worth. We live in survival mode. But survival mode is not Christ mode. And the only way we're ever going to be able to switch from survival mode to Christ mode is practice. The movie Pay It Forward tells the story of a teacher who challenges his class to come up with an idea that would change the world, not really experiencing or expecting much of anything really from his students. It's really just an exercise. Well, one boy named Trevor takes it quite seriously, and he starts thinking about, well, what could change the world? Something that could make the world kinder, something that might stop all the suffering and the pain. And he has an idea. What about, instead of owing one another when a kindness is done, we pay it forward? In other words, what you have done for me, if I help you, I will help another. And that cancels out the debt. It's profound, really. Well, his teacher applauds his ingenuity and the seriousness with which he applies himself. It's really brilliant, he says, but it'll never work. So Trevor decides he's going to set out to prove it, not for the teacher, but for himself. You see, when you're in agony over the state of the world and it compels you beyond reason to do something. So Trevor invites a homeless man to come and live in his garage. He feeds him and he keeps him warm, and he invites him to take showers when his mom isn't around. You see, he's an only child being raised by a single mom, and so it works. Well, soon the guy gets back on his feet, and the boy says, "Now remember, pay it forward. You must do something to help someone else, as I have helped you." And so it begins. Stories start being told of outrageous kindnesses being done for complete strangers. Radical gifts are being offered by the most unlikely of people, and the town begins to change. Compassion and connection deepen as people become more and more aware of how to help someone else, of how to pay their debt forward to someone with whom there is no debt, who they don't even know, and who maybe don't even deserve it. It's a movement. Reporters are proclaiming, people are celebrating. It's a movement, giving to others what has been given to us. Sound familiar? Jesus came to change us, to create something new out of something old. He came to live a life that would challenge us to live ours differently. Jesus said, "Love your neighbor, love your enemy, heal the sick, bind up the brokenhearted." And when he did, and those people wanted to follow him, he said, No, don't follow me. Don't show me your gratitude. Don't be indebted to me. Show me your gratitude by giving to others what I have given to you. Pay it forward. Jesus didn't believe people owed him. He didn't heal anyone and say, "Well, you can pay me back later," or "Now you have to worship me." He gave and received love. He passed it on. Now, I don't believe in the indebtedness of God. I don't believe that Jesus died because we owed a debt to God, because we're so reluctant to love God, or for one another for that matter. I don't believe in a God who says, "You owe me." No. Jesus said, "No more of this. No more of this indebtedness to one another. No more of keeping track who owes who and when it will be collected. No more of this keeping one another hostage in psychological debtor's prison." Jesus wasn't crucified because God required a payback. He was crucified because we did. He was the last "you owe me." He was the last payback. He was the last debt between us, not between us and God. No, he said, "The debt you keep insisting that you owe one another, I am paying for all time. No more, I did this and this and this, and now you owe me. I did this and this and this, and now the company owes me. I did this and this and this, and now the church owes me." Jesus said, "Fine. Here's the deal. I'll be the last, and I do mean the last debt. All debts, everywhere, between everyone is now paid. I'm wiping the slate clean. No one owes anyone. So let's begin again. I love you. No payment required. Now go and love someone else. Those were his last words. You know, when you're holding the hand of someone you know you will never see again, and they look you in the eye and they give you a mission. Take care of your brother. Keep the business going. Go to college. Become a great man. Those kind of powerful, life-changing words that you carry in your heart. And from that moment guides every step from that day forward. Jesus said, continue my mission. Be my love to all people. Feed my sheep. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors really means release us, save us, redeem us from a culture of indebtedness so that we, like you, God, can love unconditionally, receiving love and passing it on, receiving love and passing it on. In the economy of God, nobody owes anybody. Love is free. Amen.